sought Ansible using VMware automation. So quick introduction, my name is Pratish Patil. I'm a product manager on vRealize Automation. You might have known the product previously by different names, vCloud Automation Center, vCAP, vCSE. So I'm a product manager on vRealize Automation. Hopefully marketing didn't hear that. There are some areas I'm responsible for in the product. So one is hybrid cloud management strategy. So how we can manage physical server, HPLO, Dell servers, Cisco UCS, hypervisor side Hyper-V, of course vSphere, Citrix Zen server, and also on the public cloud side, Azure, AWS, Google Computing Team. But that's not we are here, right? We are here today to talk about configuration management tools, and that's the another area that I focus on. So I work with all of our partners. So I work with Puppet Labs, I work with Chef, I work with SauceTech, I also work with Ansible to get a joint solution there in the market. With me today, first time in the history, probably, I have a Puppet Labs presentation here. Reed Vanderbilt. Reed, can you please quickly introduce yourself?
Sure. So, is this my? Hey, I didn't mean that. Okay. Yeah. So my name is Reed Vanderbilt. I'm a technical solutions engineer at Puppet Labs based in Portland, Oregon. I've worked with Prodnesh a couple of times before. I think last year at VMworld and also at PuppetConf last year. Been with Puppet for about 3 years now, which is a long time for that company.
Yes. And I also have a person from Chef, Adam Laff here. He'll be also being a part of the session.
Hi everyone, Adam Laff, as Prodnesh mentioned, I'm a senior partner engineer for Chef Software based in the Washington DC area. And our partner engineering team works with many of our partners like VMware on making Chef play nice and helping you have your automation solutions be that much more delightful.
Thank you. So, nobody from SauceTech, Ansible, maybe in the future?
So yeah, Ansible, if you want a simpler, ageless way to go.
No, we are not doing that in this
Dialing it out, man. That's it. Dialing it out.
I assume you guys have seen this already a lot of times, so I won't go into that. Very simple agenda. vRealize Automation and CM tools. So what's exactly our strategy here? What kind of solution we are trying to provide with the configuration management tool? You see on the screen vRealize Automation. You might be worried, is this just about VMware's management stack? No, I'll talk about a solution which kind of goes beyond that management stack, which you can use even though you don't have VMware's vRealize management stack automation operations business. I'll probably spend a few minutes talking about that, what are our use cases, what kind of approach we are taking towards the solution, how that can benefit you as a customer, and what kind of value you can get out of that solution. After that, I think Reed will come on stage and talk about quick overview of the Puppet and then how exactly the integration that we are building there, what's the value of that. And then after that, Adam will come on stage, we'll talk about Chef value proposition, how we are building that Chef integration. Okay. So to get started, I want to share a quick experience with you. It's quick, but it's kind of a little old. During my first days at VMware, I started working on the configuration management tools. Part of the product management job, you go and meet with the customer. I went to visit the customer, really big car company. Probably some of you, most probably some of you drive their cars today. I went there and just meeting with the customer, and the infrastructure manager told me, I'll show you something amazing. Okay, great. And then he showed me the integration that he built with Puppet using the shell scripts. Okay, wow, you are trying to solve your problems by yourself. That's great. Couple of weeks later, same customer, we usually meet to the different teams of the same customers, application team. And then the application team manager came in, I'm going to show you something amazing, you'll be surprised. I was like, there won't be a surprise. It's the same thing I saw it with the infrastructure guys 3 weeks back. It's going to be the same thing. I walked in that meeting, he showed me the demo. Surprisingly, totally different implementation of the integration. And I was literally surprised. I asked him, do you know the guys who sit 3 buildings over there, they have built the same thing? Oh, really? And how did they build it? What are they exactly doing? I told him probably it's a better idea you go walk over there and ask him that question rather than asking me. So that kind of situation I have seen multiple times. That was just one exemplary experience sharing. And some of the challenges, duplication of efforts between different infrastructure application operation teams, also between different customers. Say finance companies want it, car companies want it, insurance companies want it. So everybody is trying to implement this in a little different way. Inconsistencies. Imagine you want to take that integration and move it to your next environment. And that environment is a little bit different. That creates the inconsistency. And also what you end up with is your pet project that you developed, you need to support it, and you need to improve it. Then why are you exactly paying money to VMware and maybe Puppet, Chef, Ansible, or Salt, right? So I'll talk about the solution, how we are trying to address these challenges, and on top of that, how we are providing the value. But before we get into there, to understand that value, the important piece is what exactly we do in vRealize automation. So right now I see almost around 500 people in front of me, so I want to do a quick one-on-one of what exactly vRealize automation can do. It will be quick, no marketing, I'll just tell you what it does. So in vRealize automation, there is a blueprint model. Any kind of deployment, whether it's a complete stack with the infrastructure and applications, or whether it's just infrastructure, you can model it. This is a screenshot from the actual product. So it will show you the bucket of the components. You can mix and match, create your deployment, and you can also define the dependencies between these components. So that's the blueprint model. The next thing is, once you create the model, you need to deploy it somewhere, and we provide a customizable governance around it. So you can define exactly who can create that model, who can perform the actions on the deployment and stuff. That's kind of related with the business groups. So there is a concept of business groups. It talks with the Active Directory. We create business groups, and we create reservation on top of your infrastructure. So the hybrid cloud strategy, as I mentioned earlier, physical, virtual, public, you create the reservations, and to all of that, you tie in this model. So that's how basically the policy-based governance works. The third thing is service catalog. So when these deployments are created, you can publish those onto the catalog so that any of your consumers, whether it's line of business, whether it is different dev test teams, they can quickly go in there and consume those. That's about vRealize automation. Top 3 value propositions: blueprint modeling, policy-based governance, and service catalog. This session is not about vRealize automation completely, it's about how we can provide the value. So now I'll show you where we are trying to provide the value. So the architecture we show here, the C here is configuration management tool, and with that the vRealize automation. The blue blocks you are seeing there is vRealize automation Orchestrator, and the purple box is the configuration management. So you see Puppet, Chef, Salt. Sorry, I don't have Ansible. Next time I'll definitely have it. The value we are trying to provide is import in the modules, cookbooks, or the salt grains in their model, and use it with your rest of the automation. The second thing is, not on the screen, I'm saying defining blueprint for consistency. So in that model, you should be able to define it. But in addition, say you are kind of on this journey to go from scripts to configuration management tool. You need both type of solution. So what we are trying to do is to give you an orchestration and property binding type of value through this joint solution. Third thing is control through policies, and don't take it completely in that way. What we are trying to do is when you use the configuration management tool, not everybody in your organization is, say, Puppet expert or Chef master or really good with this configuration management tool. So how you can create a layer of abstraction through the service catalog and expose the certain actions to these users. So they don't have to be expert to use these tools, but just they can consume it. Also, you can control through the policies. What I mean by that is deciding exactly who can take which actions. If it's a line of business, don't go in and change my chef recipes. Just use what I have given to you. So I'm not sure how many of you are aware. We first started with the Puppet partnership And we built this integration in the product with the application services offering. Some of you might remember. The challenge with that approach is it's not extensible, it's not customizable, and we heard from our customers, we heard from you that, yeah, that's great, but my environment is a little bit different. What can I do? So that's how we have kind of changed our strategy a little bit, and now we are introducing the new component there for the integration, which is vRealize Orchestrator. The old name was vCenter Orchestrator, right? So our Orchestrator. The benefit of using Orchestrator is you can get extensible implementation. So we'll give you standard implementation. Right now the implementation is there with Puppet Labs. It's hosted on our solution exchange. I'm not sure how many of you know already. But you can get it and extend it further. So it's extensible implementation. Second thing, it's independent of product releases. So, configuration management tools, usually they do a lot of releases very quickly, try to add new functionality. So by taking the integration out of the product, the idea is as it's independent of product releases from both company side, we can quickly modify it and give you a new functionality to you as a customer. So that's the another value that we are trying to provide through the integration. Well, sounds great. So exactly what I've been saying integration. Exactly what we are trying to target there. Basic thing, agent install. Some tools have it, some tools don't, but for the tools which have it, what you can do is you can build it in your machine templates. That's one way of doing it, but sometimes that process has to be done manually. So our plan is kind of provide you a workflow so that agent install can be done for you. So you do the machine provisioning and then run that vRealize Orchestrator workflow so that agent install can be done. Once the agent install is done, the second step is authorization. Most of you know this already. You want to take that sort minion, chef agent, and you need to register it with that master. So there are multiple ways of doing this. Sometimes it's just a username password authentication. Sometimes it's certificate exchange. So we are planning to provide the workflows along the authorization as well. And then the fun starts. In the configuration management tools, most of configuration management tools, you need to define the role of particular node. So whether it's a database server, whether it's a web server, also what kind of modules, cookbooks, recipes, and grains you want there. All of that you need to do in one way or another. There are multiple different mechanisms. It's kind of a hard use case to cover in the integration. But we are trying our best to support the majority of that role assignment type of mechanisms to the integration. We know once the role assignment is done, it's never permanent. Sometimes we want a node as a web server, and maybe later we want to change it to be a load balancer or maybe a database server, and we want to modify that role. So we will be providing workflows for doing that role modification as well. And then the last piece, and it's mainly around the tear down. If you are using open source software, it's pretty easy. You just kill the VM, you are done. There is no separate tear down and stuff a lot of times. But if you are using enterprise version, it's important that you kind of deregister that node with the master and get that license freed up so you can use it anywhere else. So that's why we are also providing the tear down functionalities so that that license can be registered and then the cleanup is graceful. So how we are doing it? VMware strategy is, yes, different CM tools have different flavors, open source, enterprise. Our approach is going to be, we are going to support both open source and enterprise, and we are going to support it through vRealize Orchestrator plugins. The plan is we'll build these plugins with the partners, of course, and we'll host those on our marketplace, and partners will also host those plugins on their marketplace. So that's the whole idea. Now I'll go in each tool, and I'll try to tell you exactly where we are. I probably can't talk too much about where we are going, but I'll try my best because this is a public session. So Puppet Labs, we have a Puppet plugin available. Right now, it's on the Solution Exchange. If you go on your favorite search engine, whatever your poison may be, Google, Bing, just look up for the VMware Solution Exchange and look up their Puppet Labs. You'll find this plugin. You can download it and you can use it in your environment. It's supported by VMware. So if something goes wrong, you call VMware support lines. We'll save some time, like 10-15 minutes in the end, and we'll take all of the questions. With Chef, so Chef VRO plugin is available right now on VMware community. It's a PSO developed plugin. Just a quick show of hand. I'm curious, how many of you know about this VRO Chef plugin? Just few. I see a few hands there. So it was, as I mentioned, it was a PSO developed plugin. We have hosted it on VMware communities. Still, there are some gaps there that we need to fix. So what we are planning to do is take that plugin, take it to the productized level, and host it on Solution Exchange. So here is the news. Today, we are announcing productized VRO plugin. I can't tell you when it will be there, but since I'm saying this in VMware, you can be super assured that it will be super soon. And SaltStack Ansible, yes, the partnership has been going, the work has been going in there. Again, I cannot really say NDA stuff, product management kind of dilemma. So come talk with me later after the session is over if you have specific questions in that area. So I'll leave it to work in progress for now. All right. Next, we have VMware and Puppet Joint Solutions. So read the stage. Oh, you have one?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Is it still working? Can you guys hear me? There we go. Okay, cool. Thanks, Pradesh. So leading into the VMware and Puppet Joint solution, Pradesh did a really good job of sort of introducing sort of the general approach in VMware. I'm going to start by giving an idea of what Puppet actually is, what problems it solves, kind of at what layer it sits, and then go back up again to go into just a little bit more detail as far as the VMware integration specifically. So Puppet is a technology that was originally created in 2005, and it was designed to address basically problems around the current ways of doing things. The manual configuration, custom scripts, sort of logging into systems individually. Over the past 2 decades, development practices have had massive sort of changes and evolution in how these practices work, but IT operations really haven't. And that has a cost. Manual configuration reduces productivity, it reduces visibility. It's not, in an evolving world where you're getting all these kinds of massive new technologies like cloud computing, virtualization is the new normal. This kind of stuff just isn't going to cut it. And it's only getting more complicated. As IT ops organizations are, they're being given more and more computing power, but they're still left kind of with these sorts of tools with the seemingly insurmountable problem of managing those, of turning virtual machines, turning even physical servers into deployed business applications, into useful technologies for the business. And at the same time, they're also under massive pressure to do it because the businesses are recognizing that software is a strategic advantage. Okay, so IT operations basically, over the past decade or so, has recognized that they have to change, and so they're evolving into a new way of doing things. Puppet is, when people first start using a tool like Puppet or an automation tool, they're usually starting at a very basic level. We have these kind of OS level configurations, things like system security users, firewall configurations, NTP, SSH. These things are mostly maybe the same across all of our deployed infrastructure. Sometimes there's variants where maybe there's a kind of a machine-specific configuration that needs to be made based on the IP address or the host name or something like that. But it's fundamentally a common policy. That is one of the areas that Puppet is designed to address. It's on the operating system, it's software on the machine. The thing exists somehow, but now let's actually turn it into a business tool. Beyond the OS level stuff, that's where people get started. Configuration management keeps going. We also move into application level configurations. We want to just be able to kind of basically package and describe the software configuration of Tomcat application servers, of Microsoft SQL servers, of pretty much anything you would be logging into a machine and manually typing up commands to configure. That's something that configuration management is trying to automate for you or provide tools to help you do that. So that's the kind of the operating space that we're very kind of focused on. And these kinds of tools are frameworks, so they tend to have tendrils that can go further. But that's really the core of where they're focused. So Puppet specifically takes the approach of in order to help automate and capture the work of configuring these sorts of systems, we're going to start by giving you tools to define or describe in a declarative manner the desired end state of your software. And this is done through assertions, things like this, at the very, very primitive level, this file should exist, it should have these characteristics, this content, and so on. Once you have a blueprint, which is obviously much more complicated than just files, once you have a defined definitional kind of blueprint, Puppet is then a tool to go to work for you, take that blueprint, and actually enforce that across virtual machines, across systems, and so on. It'll do the work of turning what you've described or asked for into a reality. And that, in Puppet, this is just an example of what that tool actually looks like. It's a plain text. A lot of these configuration management tools these days are fundamentally infrastructure as code utilities. When I say has code, but I really mean text. It's not necessarily as simple as a script. It's something usually a little bit higher level, more abstract. Once you have a definition, Puppet can do one of two things. It can either simulate applying a definition. Let's say you've described, here's how we configure NTP across all of our Linux servers in this infrastructure, in this environment. Once you have that definition, Puppet can do a simulation run, either on a single system or every system in deployment, and say, you know what, if I were to enforce the definition you've asked for, here's the changes I would need to make on this system, on these groups of systems in order to bring that into reality. Beyond that, so far that's a monitoring tool, basically. A configuration monitoring tool, not a service monitoring tool, it's still monitoring. Beyond that, what Puppet does is actually give you the ability to say, okay, great, you've shown me the delta or the difference between the desired state I asked for and the existing state, but now you can actually make changes to the system if necessary to enforce that. If the entity servers in use need to be changed, I can change that. And finally, anytime you have a tool like this, making massive changes across everything in your infrastructure, you need the ability to have, you need visibility, you need auditability, you need to know and have confidence in the actual configurations that's gone out there. So reporting is always a huge part of these tools, and especially in Puppet.